Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boston University's Program Overview webinar, Navigating Your Financial Future, hosted by BU's Financial Planning Program Director, Phuong Luong, CFP. My name is Sarah, and I will be moderating today's presentation as Phuong walks us through BU's online financial planning program and shares professional advice and career opportunities for your path toward CFP certification in this growing field. We also have our enrollment advisor, Amber, behind the scenes as well, answering questions today via chat. And we certainly invite you to ask questions throughout the webinar by typing in the questions box in your webinar control panel or on your web screen. We will certainly address your questions towards the end of the presentation during our questions and answers session. And as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and a link will be sent to your email for your reference and to share with your colleagues. And we have quite a large audience attending our live session today, so let's get started. All right, during today's session, we'll cover first what financial planning is and the skills needed to be successful in this field. We'll then go into why financial planning is a great profession for everyone and the career opportunities available for CFPs. Phuong will then touch upon the necessary steps to become a CFP professional, and we will then end with an overview of BU's financial planning program. I would now like to introduce Phuong Luong, CFP, the Program Director for Boston University's Financial Planning Program. Phuong holds a Master of Education from Boston University and achieved the Certified Financial Planner designation in 2014. As the founder of Just Wealth, LLC, and prior program facilitator, Phuong brings extensive experience in financial planning, having previously served in leadership roles, including chair of the CFP Board's Council on Education and director of financial services at a nonprofit. And with that, thank you, Phuong. I'll now turn it over to you to lead our discussion for today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm so happy and excited to be here, and thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. We've been really excited to share our program with you and to answer questions. And let's go to the next slide so we can talk about what is financial planning. So, a lot of people think that financial planning includes just investment management. It's an important part, but it's not the only part of the work. A financial planner helps clients meet their financial goals, which may or may not include financial management of portfolios. So often, helping a client meet their financial goals starts with understanding their goals first and how you as their financial planner can help them achieve those goals through financial planning. And it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of relationship building and relationship management. And it's incredibly rewarding at work, and you have the opportunity to build deep relationships with your clients. And that's a part of the reason why the majority of CFP professionals are satisfied with their career choice. Let's go to the next slide so we can talk about what skills are needed. So like I mentioned, building relationships with clients requires many skills that are both innate, but also buildable if you don't feel confident that you have those skills yet. And you'll get a lot of practice as a CFP to do this. So these skills include communication skills and counseling skills. And conversations, honestly, can sometimes be emotional. For example, when supporting a client through the steps of preparing for medical expenses for themselves or a loved one, it can be a really emotional time. And you're a resource for them during that time and other moments as well throughout their lives. Teaching and education skills are also skills financial planners use on a regular basis with clients. For example, when explaining financial concepts or helping clients understand their employee benefits and financial products. Can we go to the next slide, please? So financial advisors versus certified financial planners. So there's a key difference between financial advisors and CFPs. CFPs are financial advisors, but not all financial advisors are CFPs. The CFP marks are overseen by the CFP board, which is the certifying body based in DC that manages the CFP certification. CFP marks are the gold standard and most well-known certification for financial planners. And achieving the certification is a 4-step process that I'll go over in an upcoming slide. And a key difference between CFPs and financial advisors as a whole is that we have a fiduciary duty to clients. And fiduciary duty means that we must act solely in the best interest of the client when providing financial advice. Fiduciary means trust, and a person with a fiduciary duty has an obligation to maintain that trust. So the financial planning field is growing with increased demand for CFP practitioners. There are currently almost 100,000 CFPs, and again, that population, that community that we're a part of is growing. However, a generation of financial planners is retiring, and there's a leadership gap in the field. So many more practitioners are needed at all levels: client-facing roles, back office roles, financial planner support roles, and like I mentioned, leadership roles and management roles. So now I want to talk about the professional benefits of obtaining the CFP marks. So the CFP marks are an indication that you have completed a rigorous process of completing your CFP education, exam, experience, and ethics requirements. And research has shown that a large majority of consumers prefer an advisor who has passed a certification exam and rigorous education. In addition, the majority of CFP professionals in the field say that CFP certification has contributed to their success. So CFP certification, I think, is a huge benefit, not just to the community at large that benefits from CFP education, but also the CFP professional themselves that benefits through their career in having a built-in community of other financial planners, a certifying body that is looking out for you and also the public through the CFP board, and also the whole background education, knowledge, and experience that you get in the process of getting the marks, and continuing education that you'll be required to obtain while you have certification. So now I want to talk about career opportunities. So let's talk about all the different ways that you can actually practice being a financial planner. So financial planning is a really flexible career path with many options for practicing, such as working within banks and local credit unions, human resources roles, insurance companies, brokerage firms, accounting firms, and nonprofit organizations. Not all roles are client-facing as well. So I've met CFPs in all roles: management and leadership roles, roles where they're meeting with clients directly, paraplanning roles, meaning that they're supporting the client-facing advisor, also technical analysis roles behind the scenes. So there's so many ways of being a CFP, and I've also known CFPs that have moved in their career to different roles, including myself. I was formerly a teacher and an educator, and I've moved into CFP education, but also I practice financial planning. So again, there's so many different ways of being a CFP in your career and throughout your career. So finally, I mentioned this before, but now I want to talk about the 4 steps to certification. And it can be a long process, but there's support. So let's talk about the first step, which is education. So completing a CFP board registered program is a requirement. You can complete it after you finish your bachelor's or your formal education or degree education. However, having a BA or a master's degree in a related field can also count for your education. And all of the details are listed on the CFP board's website at cfp.net. Next is the examination. That's the second E. The exam is also known as the CFP exam. And saying that would make any CFP certificant a little nervous because, exams typically make people nervous. But here's the thing. It's a very predictable exam. The structure is totally transparent on the CFP website. There's also a practice exam that you can actually try ahead of time before the exam happens. And typically every CFP exam taker, we recommend that they take a review course to practice taking the exam and just to do as many practice exams as they can. It's a 2-3-hour session exam over 1 day. It's a multiple choice exam and it's 170 questions. And the CFP board does change the exam structure, but it's not very often, and they last changed the structure about a decade ago, and it hasn't changed since. The next E, the third E, is experience. And so as CFP practitioners, we have to have reliable experience that trains us to enter the field and to be in the field and to practice in the field. And it's 2 or 3 year full-time tracks where you need to be either shadowing or educating or working directly with clients. There's lots of different ways you can get that experience. So for example, for myself, I was able to get that experience from multiple pathways that all added up to the total experience that I needed for CFP certification. The fourth and last E is ethics. And this is ethics education that we're required to have to prepare us to fulfill that fiduciary duty for clients. And what I want to say is all of this, all of the 4 E's, you know, it's when you're done with the 4 E's and you are able to apply for your certification and you get the certification, the education and the ethics and the experience don't stop there. Luckily, the exam has stopped, but the other 3 E's, they keep going and you continue building your experience, education, and ethical stamina as a CFP person, CFP professional throughout your career, right? So that those don't end. So there's actually another pathway for certification. And so I want to talk about the accelerated path. So this is an accelerated path for folks that have specific degrees or certifications listed here. And this list is updated and maintained by the CFP board. So if you have any of these certifications or degrees, you can actually bypass the education requirement and move directly into taking the exam. However, you will still need to pass the exam, complete the experience requirement, and complete the ethics education requirement. And you can learn more about CFP challenge status at the website listed on this page. And I think this is a really great option as well for people who already have these certifications or degrees, and having multiple certifications would really only benefit you in your career. Now let's talk about ways of financing your education. So I'm really proud to say that Boston University has a scholarship fund called the Robert J. Glovsky Scholarship Fund. And it was established in 2010 in recognition of Robert Glovsky's 25 years plus of service as the financial planning program director and founder of our program. And preference is given to students who wish to assist the traditionally underserved population, as evidenced by their professional or personal work experience in the nonprofit sector. It's not a requirement, but students with that type of experience are definitely given preference. And again, go to that website right there on the link on the slide to learn more about the scholarship fund. And there are other scholarship opportunities available through the CFP board as well. So if we look at the next slide, I'm excited to share that there are these scholarships available on the website directly from the CFP board that would help pay for education and the exam, as well as exam review programs. And so there are dozens of opportunities on this website. And again, more information is available on the CFP board website. Great, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Phuong. Now we're going to talk about the BU Financial Planning Program with some course logistics here. So the first here is you can complete the BU program at your own pace. Students do have 21 months to complete the 7 courses, which is usually recommended in 3-month increments overall. The BU program is rolling admissions, which means you can start your studies following the enrollment processing. And students also have access to facilitator support via email to get questions answered, but you'll benefit from the experience of BU's renowned instructors, each of whom is a CFP professional as well. The course is 100% online with 24/7 access to your course content. There are webinars, a number of live instructor-led webinars throughout the program duration where students can get questions answered, and all webinars are recorded and posted within the program for convenient on-demand access afterwards. There's practitioner advice segments available, and then in the capstone course, there is an instructor-led capstone where students will prepare and present a comprehensive financial plan to the instructional team according to the CFP board's practice and standards and client objectives. Finally, if you meet BU's education requirements, you are then eligible for the certificate in financial planning. All right, the program offers two different enrollment packages that correspond to each individual student's needs. There is the core package, which features access to 7 individual courses with your books included. And then there's the premium package, which includes additional bundled savings with both books and your exam review included as well. Both of these can be found on the website with additional details as well. Payment plans and private loan options are also available to assist in financing your education rather than the full out-of-pocket expense. As you can see here, a 6-month interest-free payment plan is what is available to you. If you're interested in taking courses a la carte, students can purchase single courses to get started on your educational goals rather than beginning with the full program option. The program title and costs are listed here and on the website as well. And if you have any further questions about pursuing your CFP education requirement with Boston University and would like to get in touch with our enrollment team, you can do so by email, phone, or live chat, which is found on the website at financialplanningonline.bu.edu. Okay, that now takes us to our live questions and answers session. So we'll now take the next 25 minutes or so to answer questions from our audience. And please remember just to type your questions in the questions box on your attendee control panel or your webpage. We have Amber also assisting answering questions via the text feature behind the scenes. We do have quite a few questions that have come in throughout the webinar, so we will get started. Okay, our first question here for you, Phuong, is, one moment. This person says, I am a career changer, previously an accountant and becoming a financial advisor. I really enjoy investments, but want to help with retirement and taxes. Which certification should I pursue if I want to best serve my clients? Would it be CFP or the CFA?
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, this is a really great question. So I would say that a lot of CFPs I know actually have multiple certifications. So the CFP really prepares you and provides a rigorous structure and practice and education for the process of financial planning. And then additionally, the CFA is focused more on investment management at a very high level. And in addition, for taxes, I have colleagues of mine, and also I should mention BU instructors. We have multiple instructors with multiple certifications and designations such as the CFP and CFA. In addition, we have instructors, but also I know colleagues of mine with the CFP who also have a CPA, which is the Certified Public Accountant designation. That prepares you for preparing taxes and doing tax analysis, or something called the EA, which is the Enrolled Agent. That's another certification. But many times people use the CFP as the foundational certification that they have that allows them and prepares them and helps them feel confident being in front of clients and providing the full financial plan. And then they get additional certifications after that. Or they may come in with a certification if it allows them to do challenge status for the CFP. So I hope that answered your question. And if not, please feel free to put another question in the chat.
Great, thank you, Phuong. I think this next question from someone else sort of touches on that as well. This person says, I am a tax preparer. I am thinking of being a CFP. I'm thinking being a CFP would be a great fit for me. Would this be correct? This person also mentions that they are working on getting their life insurance license in Michigan as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think a CFP certification is a great fit. In addition to being a tax preparer. Honestly, having that tax preparation experience is a great fit for CFP certification as well. Having that dual experience for your clients is a huge value add for financial planning and for your clients' experience working with you, but also just for their financial plan in general. There's so much in financial planning that requires a tax background. Not necessarily tax preparation, but having tax knowledge. And the tax course is actually a course in a required course in the program. And it's often one of the most difficult. So the fact that you're coming in with tax preparation experience it would really just honestly help you in the program, but also help you be an even stronger certified financial planner without that experience. So in my experience, I'll just add a little note. I've done tax preparation on a pro bono basis through the volunteer income tax assistance program through the IRS. And that was such an invaluable experience for me as a certified financial planner, where I understand I was trained and was able to practice the ins and outs of collecting client tax information and preparing the tax return. But that was outside of my practice, and it really just helped me lay a stronger foundation of tax planning knowledge for what I do as a certified financial planner. So yes, I absolutely think it's a great fit. One other thing I'll say about that is that if you already have a tax background, what I found is that working with tax preparers and accountants that work with my clients, they are very knowledgeable on actually preparing taxes, but so often they don't have that experience of putting it all together in terms of a client's financial plan. So oftentimes we'll work together and I'll share knowledge with them, they'll share knowledge with me, and it's a team approach and a collaborative approach. And so whether or not you continue preparing tax returns for your clients once you become a financial planner and a certified financial planner, it'll even prepare you more to either work with your client's current advisor or with their accountant. And so it's just going to make you a greater team player in the client's whole financial team. So that was a long answer, but again, great question.
I think that's great. Thank you so much. And Phuong, do you know how many CEUs are needed over what time frame to keep your certification?
Yes, and so every 2 years, certified financial planners are required to have 30 hours of continuing education, and 2 of those hours minimum need to be in the ethics category. So reviewing your ethics requirement. Yeah,
Great.
and it's really best to get that continuing education throughout the 2 years. In the very beginning, when you most recently become a certified financial planner, it's easy to forget to fulfill that, and then you get regular reminders from the CFP board to get those done, and especially in the last like 6 months or 3 months, and then it's best not to scramble to finish that at the end. It's really best to continue that, and there's just so many opportunities to get continuing education by going to conferences, by doing online webinars, online education, additional certifications, and education for that oftentimes will count toward continuing education units as well.
Perfect, thank you. Next question for you. Can you please provide examples of meeting our requirement if we have a full-time role in another inventory? I'm assuming this is probably about the coursework.
The coursework for the BU program?
I believe so.
Awesome. Yeah, so the coursework, it's to be completely honest, it's very rigorous. And so I would say the fastest time that students complete the program is 9 months. I've known students to finish it even faster, especially if they have background in financial planning or background in any of the areas that we teach, which is insurance, investments, tax planning, education planning, or retirement planning, and employee benefits. So if you already have background and knowledge of those areas, that particular course may be a faster process for you to finish. And I would recommend that students devote at least 10 hours, right, a week if they plan on finishing within that 9-month time frame. Oftentimes, students will finish the program anywhere between 9 to 21 months. And I would say to really develop a schedule for yourself, we have resources and webinars that are live and also recorded that walk students through the steps to create their own study schedule and how to really time and prepare yourself for that. We have instructors that have been through the process themselves. And again, Sarah mentioned earlier on a slide that all of our BU instructors are certified financial planners that are practicing in the field. And so we have all been through that process of having to complete our education, the exam, and the experience requirement. And so it is so doable, so possible. And the CFP board actually does give you time to finish all these requirements. So you don't have to finish within 9 months, right? So when I say 9 months, that is a pretty accelerated schedule for completing the education component, but then you have additional time after that that you'll want to devote to studying and preparing for the exam.
Great, thank you so much. Next question, this person says, I'm very interested in pursuing the CFP qualification, but I also wonder, is there any assistance or resources to help connect CFP students to experiences or jobs in the industry while we are studying?
Yes, absolutely. And so one thing I'm really proud and excited to share is that the BU program has a really close relationship with the Financial Planning Association. And so we didn't mention in the slides, but the Financial Planning Association is a nonprofit national organization with chapters around the country. And where we're based, which is the Boston area, the New England chapter is incredibly strong. And the Financial Planning Association has resources for members that are just excellent. There's career webinars, there's career resources, there's a job board. There are regular webinars where you can talk to current CFPs, current advisors that have other certifications as well. And they do a webinar for BU students, and they have a student membership discount. I don't know the exact number or the fee, but it's heavily discounted compared to their regular membership fee. And I highly recommend that all students sign up for the Financial Planning Association student membership so they can get access to all those resources and especially career support that you're mentioning. Really, that is the best place to go and to learn more about the field as well and all the different opportunities that are available for CFPs.
That's awesome, thank you. Next question, do I need to pass the CFP exam before getting a job as a CFP? I'm trying to switch careers, but currently have no finance experience. I'm not sure how to get my foot in the door.
Yeah, so you do not need to pass the CFP exam before getting a job in the CFP industry, but to rephrase your question, you absolutely need to pass the CFP exam before putting yourself out as a certified financial planner. So you could get a job or work in the industry as a financial advisor, but you wouldn't be able to use the CFP marks unless you've passed the exam and finished all the other requirements that we mentioned today. And depending on the employer, depending on the role, some employers do require a certified financial planner. However, for many employers, even having had started your CFP journey towards certification is a huge signal that you are committed to the field, that you are committed to the education required to be a certified financial planner, and that you've started that process. I think that's a huge value add for you as a career changer. Another thing I'll mention for getting experience is pro bono, right? So the VITA program, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program that I mentioned, that was something that I did while I was still in a previous career. I was working at a nonprofit at the time, and that actually provided me certification education hours that I could use toward continuing education. Other ways are to work in a field. Perhaps you may not be in a client-facing role, but it really depends on what your previous experience was. I know so many financial planners that are career changers themselves, and they'll bring a part of their experience and a part of themselves into their work as financial advisors. Either they'll work, I know of doctors that have moved into financial planning that they'll work with doctor communities, nurse communities. If you come from a nursing background, educators who work with educators, and it's a very close-knit community, right? When you join the CFP community, but then even within that, there are different niches that you can focus on when you work with your clients. So whatever experience you were bringing from your previous career, that's really just going to be a huge value to your future employer, as long as you're able to really speak honestly and openly and reflectively about where you're coming from before you started your CFP. And so there are a lot of ways to get experience. And again, I'll mention joining and even just checking out the resources from the Financial Planning Association would be helpful. One other thing I did when I was entering the field as a career changer was go to Financial Planning Association events. or NAPFA events, which is the National Association of Personal Financial Educators. Of personal finance education. And actually, let me make sure I get the word NAPFA correct. NAPFA is the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, and they provide financial education and support for a community of advisors that are CFPs, but work on a fee-only basis, meaning they do not sell investment products. And so those two associations were just so huge in providing me education and community when I was just starting out as a career changer.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much, Phuong. All right, so next question is maybe more of an advice if you could offer here. I'm wondering if I can do CFP related work after I retire from my current career. Is this realistic? Can you talk about what types of part-time opportunities might be available?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that's very realistic, especially if you're able to devote that time and energy. I would say since the pandemic, where a lot of folks started going remote and feeling more comfortable with remote and video conferencing, the opportunities have just grown so much to do that type of work on a more flexible basis. And so I don't know of any opportunities off the top of my head. But what I'll say is, when I think back to the slide earlier of all the different ways that you can contribute, most flexibly, right, I would say for part-time work, there's two ways that I'm thinking, well, three ways really. One is pro bono. So there are programs that can connect you on a pro bono basis to clients that are looking for free support. There are nonprofits out there, right? You can reach out to community organizations that already have a financial education programming component to their services. Maybe you can look at government offices that do financial services for public benefits for recipients. And you can also look at the VITA tax assistance that I mentioned. Some of those opportunities would be paid, not all would be paid. And the last thing I'm thinking about is that you could start your own practice, right? You could start your own business doing part-time work, and that honestly would be the most flexible, but it would be very time consuming because you would need to create your own business structure. You need to register as a financial advisor with your state, most likely. There would be a lot of steps there. But again, the Financial Planning Association or NAPFA that I mentioned before would have a lot of resources for you to how to get started with that. And so those are things that I would suggest you look into if you want to do that. But I think that would be fantastic to do. And there's a whole built-in community of people that are actually retired. I would say retirees are often looking for financial planning assistance. And oftentimes they want either a project-based financial plan or a one-off standard financial plan where they may not want a continuous relationship, but maybe they want some hourly support. And so providing flexible support on a part-time basis yourself as a CFP, I think would be a huge value for clients that may not have the funds or the assets to pay for an ongoing wealth management advisor, but are really just looking for financial planning, which is huge because there's not a lot of advisors that can do that flexibly, especially if you're working for a large firm. And if your large firm has minimums for how much wealth a client has. And so if you can set those rates yourself and set those parameters yourself for the types of clients that you want to specialize in, that would be awesome.
Great, thank you. And the next question, this is a great question here. I work with people on their relationship with money. I know there is a growing field of financial therapists. I'm wondering how your program addresses the psychology of money.
Yeah, this is a really good question. So the psychology of money is a required component of CFP curriculums now because it is tested on the exam. So it's a requirement that we include it. And it's always actually been a really big part of our capstone course, which is the culminating course at the end of our program, where students are putting together a full financial plan for a hypothetical client. And then you need to record yourself presenting that financial plan. And that's the final project that's graded. And so, yeah, it's a really big component of our program, and it's going to be tested. So it needs to be an important part of the CFP experience and practitioner process too.
Great, thank you so much. All right, next question. This person says, I live in Colombia and I'm interested in taking the program and passing the exam for personal reasons, not to become a certified financial advisor. Therefore, I would not be able to demonstrate the required experience or follow through with subsequent steps. Can I still take this virtual training?
Yes, absolutely. So I know folks and past students that have taken the training for their own education, for their own knowledge, and they did not plan on completing the rest of the exam and experience and ethics. And that's okay. But the scholarship that I mentioned, the GLOSI scholarship, as well as the CFP board scholarships that we mentioned, those would be only for students that are planning on achieving and obtaining certification. But the education component is definitely open, available to anyone who wants to learn the concepts.
Awesome answer, thank you. Similar to that question, I'm an institutional fixed income portfolio manager contemplating a change to individual financial planning. Does this apply to the experience requirement for a CFP?
Oh, that's a really great question. So I would not know, and honestly, me or any instructor at BU or any other instructor in any other program would not be able to answer that because it's the CFP board that grants you that experience and approves that experience. So what you could do is you can contact the CFP board, and they have a process for pre-approval of experience so that you can check to see if it would count toward the 2 or 3 year full-time experience requirement for a CFP. But what I'll say too is that that experience is amazing, and that would be a huge additive and value add for CFP work. So that's fantastic that you're considering financial planning as a career.
Perfect. And actually, this person just followed up saying they also already hold their CFA as well. So I think that actually might be able to be used towards the program. Is that correct?
Oh, definitely. Yes,
Yes.
the CFA is an option, is a certification, or I should say designation, that allows you to qualify for that accelerated path that we've mentioned. So you could take the capstone course with us. After that, then once you pass the capstone course, you can take the exam. Yeah, that's awesome.
Great. This next person says, if you wanted to start your own business as a fee-only FA, would being a CFP be needed as certification?
Yeah, so it's a good question too. So there are state requirements, and really it depends on your state. And so I know in the state of Massachusetts, the CFP counts as one of the certifications that would allow you to apply for registration as an advisor, but not all states. Some states require other exams, such as the Series 65 or Series 66 or other state registrations. And so you should check with your state. A great question.
Thank you so much. So next question for you is about course pacing. So this person says, is the course pacing 3 months per class or module recommended for someone in an existing career? If I pursue the program full-time, what is the average or expected completion time? Maybe just give a on average estimate if you could, please.
Yes, so most students finish the program within 9 to 21 months. And it really depends on the student. And so I've seen students complete each course, and there are 7 courses, within 1 to 3 months. And so if you really, really pushed it, you could finish in less than 3 months. But it really depends on how much how much you can devote in terms of time to your schedule, to studying, and also what your background is on the content itself. But as always, before you take the exam, make sure to take a review course, because there's just so much content to get through that you really want to practice taking that exam, because it's a slightly different experience than going through the education component.
Great answer. Thank you, Phuong. Next question is, how accounting intensive is the CFP?
How accounting intensive? To clarify, accounting, I'm assuming you mean like the act of accounting, which is managing a balance sheet, cash flow statements, all that stuff. There's not a lot of accounting. I would say that most accounting principles heavy course is the tax planning course, but it's a lot of more, what do you do with the information for tax planning? We do have students go through a project related to calculating different tax figures like self-employment tax, taxable income, gross income, all those things. But we walk you through that, kiddie tax, things like that. We walk you through that and we provide you all the figures, but you're not expected to create cash flow statements or balance sheets. We do provide cash flow statements and balance sheets for specific client projects, especially the capstone project. And there's also a practice case that you'll have throughout the course in every subject where we follow a family, right? And it's a really interesting project, right? And we provide you a balance sheet of all their investments, all their estate planning information, things like that, and you'll be expected to work through it. But we help you through that, and so you're not expected to create those financial statements yourself. But let me know if I answered your question. You can feel free to write another question in addition.
I think that was great. Thank you so much. Next question is, what is the best way to get work experience to get certified?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So a couple of things that I might have already mentioned, which is, doing pro bono work often will provide experience hours. And these are all actual answers that I've either done myself or that I have colleagues or other students that have gone through a program have done. So pro bono hours most likely would count depending on what you're doing. And again, you have to certify that with the CFP board to really approve those hours. You could do VITA, which is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. There are sites throughout the country, some remote. Most often they're in person where you're meeting with people to provide them pro bono tax preparation support. You could work in the field. That's another way to get experience where you're either supervising financial advisors or you're delivering the financial advice on your own. Another way is educating, right? So if you're teaching certified financial planning courses, that's another way to get those hours. And all of these activities that count toward experience are actually listed on the CFP board's website. So those are ways I've seen folks get those hours. But oftentimes, most likely, it's usually people who are working in the field or have worked in the field. But if you're a career changer like me, all those things that I just mentioned are definite possibilities as well.
Great, thank you. And this is an interesting question, certainly a hot topic in any industry right now. Phuong, how do you think the AI is affecting the CFP industry?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. Of the folks that I've spoken to, it tends to be, I would say, financial planners on the younger side that are telling me that they're actually using AI as advisors. So they're using AI software to help them with their note taking, to help them with their meeting summary. And so I'm seeing AI tools being embraced and used to facilitate the work of certified financial planners in working with their clients. It's so interesting because, at this point, AI technology is not able to replace the relationship building and communication and education skills and counseling skills that I mentioned at the very beginning of the webinar. I don't know if that'll happen in the future. Perhaps an AI with holograms will be able to deliver a financial plan in an ethical, empathetic way. I don't know, but right now that technology doesn't exist. And so we still need human advisors to deliver that and to discern with a fiduciary standard that type of advice. But AI tools have been here for a long time, actually, helping us with calculations where financial planners still have to review those calculations, but also helping us support and create financial plans that then the financial advisor delivers. So that delivery aspect is not going away anytime soon. And really, the CFP certification with the experience and exam and knowledge prepares you for that delivery and financial planning preparation. But the tools out there now are really just helping financial advisors be more efficient with their time and be more effective with their time. And so advisors that I know are embracing it. And AI companies are really, I would say they're working really hard and quickly to build out tools but all the AI tools that I've been seeing are for advisors to use, not to replace advisors.
That's an awesome answer. Thank you so much for that. Our next question is, I'm a 57-year-old immigrant foreign attorney as my background, thinking to start a career change into financial planning. I know you mentioned many CFPs are retiring this year, and that might be my age group. So is there an age limit to enter or remain in the profession? Also, as a Spanish language native speaker, I wonder if there's a special need for bilingual CFPs.
Oh my gosh. So I'll answer your second question first. Absolutely. There is such a need for bilingual CFPs in any language outside of English. Our certification is a global certification. And so I know certified financial planners that work with immigrants or expatriates that live in other countries as well. And so the concept of financial planning, although the CFP program our CFP program teaches US-based tax law and policies. They're so applicable, the knowledge that we provide and the structure of the financial planning process is applicable to any other tax policy or law in other countries. But you would need specific domain knowledge in those other areas as an addition. That's where another certification might fit in. That's specific to that country. And to answer your first question, there is absolutely no age limit. I know financial planners who were certified in financial planning once they were, right outside of college. So they were, 21. And I know students in our program who were in their 70s. We actually, a current student is a retired finance professor. And he is just awesome, providing insights and knowledge and additional examples often when they're asking questions in our program. And so our students are so cool and of all ages, and we welcome you. And so that's fantastic, especially if you have bilingual skills. That's so needed in the field for Spanish-speaking communities. That's really awesome that you're here.
Completely agree. Thank you so much. Next question is, how friendly is the field to remote workers?
Oh, that's so interesting. Such an interesting question. It really depends on the employer, but I would say very friendly. In all the time that I've been a financial planner, outside of the very beginning of my career, I haven't seen a client in person in, I would say, 7 years. So even before the pandemic, and a lot of my colleagues and friends of mine that are CFPs, they have practices where they are fully remote. When you're working for an employer with a physical office, they may not like you to be fully remote, but it really depends on your clients. I would say older clients who aren't as comfortable with technology, but that's a stereotype. I've worked with older clients that are very comfortable with technology, who are very comfortable with video conferencing and phone call and digital only paperwork, right? Not actually having any hard copies. But some clients may want that presence. And so what's beautiful about this profession is that you can choose. Excuse me. I'm taking a sip of water.
No worries.
You can choose who your clients are and how you want to practice as a CFP. You may not have that total flexibility in the very beginning of your career, but there is flexibility because there's just so many opportunities. And so if that's something you want to do and be remote, then you can aim for that, and that can be your goal before you even start looking out there and prioritizing that when you're looking for your future employer.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so we have just about 10 minutes left for questions, and we still have quite a few that are coming in the queue here, so we'll try to address as many questions as time allows here today, but certainly feel free to follow up via email at the website we listed on this slide here with any additional questions you might have. We will certainly route that to the right person. Next question for you, Phuong. I'm interested in pursuing these classes for personal education as well as a potential side income in retirement, which is about 10 years out. If I were to finish these courses within the next 2 years, would I be able to use these courses to meet the education requirements if I plan to take the CFP test in 5 or 8 years down the road?
That's a great question. I believe that you must take the CFP exam within, I believe it's within 5 years of finishing the education. Please check with the CFP board on that because they do change those rules regularly, but I believe that's the time limit. So I like that earlier end of the range that you mentioned, 5 to 8 years, but I think 8 years might be too late. And I think there's a really good reason for that is because information changes, laws change, and you want to be, the most up to date. And so, if you're waiting 8 years out before you take the exam, a lot of things may have changed, and you most likely you weren't required to have kind of continuing education in that time. And so your knowledge might be outdated by the time you're getting to the CFP, but that's not good for you in your career, but also that's not good for future clients. And so you really do, just for yourself, finish and take that exam as soon as possible, because that knowledge is fresh in your mind, right? So when we really recommend that students take that review course for the exam as soon as they finish the capstone course, which is the last course in our program, and then they take the exam, usually like 3 months out, so they can have time to study and review all their coursework before they take the exam. And so I really don't recommend waiting that long, if possible.
Great, thank you so much. The next question, we've had a couple of different iterations of this asked, so maybe you can touch upon this briefly. Is the course live teaching as well as online? Or I think someone else asked asynchronous versus synchronous, if you maybe want to combine those and just give a brief overview.
Yeah, absolutely. So the course is both asynchronous and synchronous. And we wanted to create a financial planning program for professionals. And as professionals, we know you're busy and your schedule needs to be flexible for anything that's outside of your day-to-day work or day-to-day studies, right? No matter what your other commitments are. And so that's what our program is created for, right? So it's best for folks that are looking for us both synchronous and asynchronous. So the course content itself is asynchronous because it's a lot of content, right? There's just so much to get through. But we do know that there are specific topics and subjects that you're going to want to work with an instructor on. And so typically every week or every other week, we have live sessions reviewing specific modules and for specific courses where you're going to get an opportunity to meet with instructors. You're getting an opportunity to ask questions directly from instructors. And these are meant as course reviews. And so we do want you to read and review the content and the module for that course before you enter. But if you can't, that's okay. You can go in, still go to the live session. But they're really meant to be reviews. And those happen regularly, right? Almost every week. And we also have the capstone course, which is the final course in the program. That is also asynchronous, but also synchronous. And that specifically, we have webinars and live sessions for every week, because we know that that's the final course, it's the review course, and it's the most intensive course. And so you have the opportunity to sign up for the instructor-led version. In addition, you have a live instructional support via email, right? So you can email our instructors if you have any questions at all about the content or curriculum, and we provide email support through that. And so there's a lot of opportunities to get in-person support, either live, synchronously through video, asynchronous through email, asynchronous through the content, and we're always open to feedback as well. And so we want to support our students because we really want you to finish, because we know that this is just one component of the CFP journey.
Thank you so much. Next question, when does the 21-month period to complete the program begin? Is it possible to enroll but start your first course a few months after? And I know Amber answered this via text, but I think it would be great to hear this out loud for the recording for other folks.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Sarah. Yes, so the 21-month clock on completing the 7 courses does begin upon enrollment. So if you were thinking, that you needed to not start the program for a couple months, we would advise you to enroll when you're ready to start so you don't eat into your 21-month access.
Great. Thank you so much, Amber.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question here is, can we get access to the webinars at a later time?
Yes, absolutely. So those webinars are recorded and we keep the webinars online for So for example, all 2023 webinars are still recorded and live, and they're available to watch as recording. And then we post the recordings a couple of days after every webinar is published, because we want students to be able to watch and access these recordings on their own time if they weren't able to attend live. And so definitely they're still available to all students.
Wonderful, thank you. And what is the difference between CFA and CFP?
Yeah, so the CFP is the Certified Financial Planning designation that we're talking about today. The CFA is a Chartered Financial Analyst certification. It's a completely different certification with different requirements, and it mostly prepares people to do a deep dive in the investment sector, right? And so looking at investments, analyzing investments. BU also offers CFA education, but not through the BU Financial Planning program. But the Metropolitan College, where the CFP program is housed, also has a program for a CFA. So feel free to let us know, and we can connect you with that team as well, because that's another great certification to get in conjunction with your CFP.
Great, thank you so much, Phuong. Next question, is the 21 months a hard stop, or is there a way to extend if you are close to completion? Maybe Amber, we can pass that one to you.
Absolutely. Yes. So if you were, the 21 months is paced to 3 months per course. So 3 times 7, it's usually the 21 months. So if a student, if you had a life event or work got busy and you had to step away from the program and you couldn't complete in the 21 months, we do offer extensions to the program. You can only purchase one extension. However, we offer a 3-month, a 6-month, or a 9-month extension if you were to need that to tack on to the 21 months to finish the 7 courses.
All right, thank you so much, Amber.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like we might have got to the end of the questions we can get to for today. We've had plenty of answered questions via text from Amber as well here. So with that, I think that will conclude our question and answer session. We'd like to thank you all again for joining us today. Thank you, Phuong, for your very thoughtful answers to our questions. We hope this information presented will help guide you in your search for a quality CFP education, while also aligning with your personal and professional goals. Whether you're embarking on a career shift or enhancing your resume with a new credential, we certainly appreciate your time in exploring how BU's self-paced online program can pave the way for your success there. So with that, I'm wishing you all an enjoyable remainder of the rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in.